Hello, everybody. This is Suneve, and I'm coming to you on Christmas. Merry Christmas. Um, how are you guys doing? I'm sorry I didn't get the post yesterday. I had some family stuff to do. I know you guys are gonna be like, "Don't say sorry," but I feel bad because I wanted to post. But um, I am excited because I got a cardigan. I got a purple cardigan, and it's like not like those little tiny cute cardigans. It's like one of the I don't even know if it's called a cardigan. It's purple, like a dark purple and it basically covers my whole body because I'm short, and I feel like a little old lady, and I love it. I want to I want to seem like one of those old ladies at like libraries, cause like I don't know. I used to want to be a librarian growing up, but I kind of still do, but you had to go to school for that. But it's okay. Um, it's a really cute cardigan though, and I love it. I normally don't wear stuff like this, but I'm like old lady clothes. Nice. Love it. But I'm coming to you guys with Touch, a Tiki Toby X reader by KissedByRain. And we're starting off with chapter 32. I hope you guys are having a good holiday, and hopefully nothing too crazy is going on. Hopefully everything's good. Watching him walk away to the forest reminded her what she felt like when she was trapped in the asylum. Left watching him every day, not being able to stop him, not being able to do a single thing to make him stay just for a while longer. She could stand up and run after him. She could do something. Yet all she did was watch with sad eyes as he left, again, for the third time in the past 4 days. Ash stayed in the position until the stars started to come out over the sky, which was now turning darker by the minute. It turned into a black canvas glittered with light. The night sky was always pretty, and being in the middle of a forest without the disturbance of city lights allowed her to get a full view of all the stars. After making sure the cabin was all locked up for the night, she lights the fireplace up and decided to read a book she found to clear her head of everything. She wanted to forget it all just for a few hours to relax. Hours later, she falls asleep with an open book laying on her chest and a thick blanket wrapped tightly around her shoulders. The heat from the fire and the loud crickets heard outside lulled her to sleep. Ash! Ash! Her eyes fly open, light blinds her, and she squints to see who it is. Toby is kneeling beside her, and her head was pounding. She felt sick. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. She was outside in the forest, leaned against a thin, frail tree. The cabin nowhere in sight. She felt utterly confused. How did she get here? What the hell are you doing out here sleeping? It's not even 5 a.m. Toby helps her up after studying the watch on his wrist, which she didn't even know he had. He then freezes and gently grabs one of her arms. You had another attack? Damn it, I'm sorry for not being here. The new scratches on her arms frightened her. There was no way she had an attack. There was no way. That's impossible. I fell asleep on the couch last night, and even if I did, I wouldn't have been able to open any of the doors. I wouldn't have fallen back asleep. I would eventually snap out of it and be awake. She tried to rationalize. Her words feel jumbled, and she suddenly feels dizzy. Something wasn't right. Toby tenses up, and he slowly begins to look terrified of something. Were you sleepwalking then? No. No. Any headaches, dizziness, or nausea? She gazes at him in curiosity. I have a bad headache and feel sick, actually. All at once, Toby is furious and looked scared. God damn it, he pulls away from her and yanks his mask and goggles off over his head. Fuck. Her eyes go wide, watching him pace and curse to himself. Ash hurries to him, grabbing his arm. Seeing him look so frightened didn't help her nerves. Toby, what's wrong? He sighs, his cold hands moving to cup her cheeks. Ash, do you remember Ben telling you about my master? A frown makes her way to her lips, and still not understanding what was going on. Of course, I think it was Slender or something. He nods hastily. Yes. Well, I think that bastard took you here last night, and I don't know what he made you do, or even if he did anything. She looks at him, startled and confused. What? How? Mind control? I don't know. Something like that. Do you remember when Ben said he could do manipulative shit? He wasn't exaggerating. That thing isn't human. I actually don't know what the fuck it is. All I know is we are leaving first thing tomorrow. It's going to come back. It won't come back today because it's tormenting us. It's just toying with us like puppets to entertain himself with. That's what I am to it, a plaything to meddle with. This isn't even the full extent of what that thing can do. He pauses, his eyes suddenly holding remorse as he looks deep into hers. I know you won't like the situation, but I need to leave again to get the things we need to travel away from here. We don't have enough food at the house to just leave today. Coming with me is more dangerous than staying here by yourself. he's after me, not you, and he only used you to scare me, to warn me he's coming. Ash stops herself from speaking. She needs to try to understand. Fighting about it would do nothing but make it more difficult than it already was. She forces herself to say what he wants to hear. I understand. Just make sure to come back soon. I don't want to be alone any longer. Toby looks relieved. His breathing is still shaky. It must have left something, did something to you. Do you have pockets? Ash glances down to check her pants. No? He suddenly grabs each of her arms and steadies them before stopping at her right shoulder, lifting her short sleeve out of the way to look at her forearm. He immediately flinched. He stayed silent for too long. Looking down to see what he was staring at, she is met with a carving in her skin. It covers her whole forearm. A circle with an X on it. Toby, did that thing? She can't speak in horror as she felt used. Tears are suddenly in her eyes, her vision blurry. It all came crashing down, Toby leaving for days, her restless sleeping, and now this. She felt so alone. It made her tear up her arms the worst they've ever been. It made her carve that into her own skin, and who the hell knows what else it made her do. He embraces her tightly. I'm so sorry. Ash sinks against him, not knowing he was actually apologizing for two things. Chapter 33. Entry 22. One day I will see you again. I will plead for you to take me home so I am no longer alone. You will hold my hand as you lead the way with a smile you would take me far away. When we get there, you will hold me close, you bring out the remaining hope, and I will be with you again. She didn't realize she was so far away from the cabin until she noticed they have already been walking for about 20 minutes now. It only resurfaced the fact that she was vulnerable any time of the day to that thing. The whole way back, Toby held a hatchet in his hand while the other held her shoulder tightly. He seemed very alert of any noise around them and flinched towards any direction where branches of trees rustled. Whenever he did, he would pull her closer, to the point where she felt his heart beat against her back. They're both paranoid, especially Ash, who couldn't stop pondering on what had happened. It was hard to believe that something like this existed. She wouldn't have if hadn't woken up in the middle of the woods or met Ben, who had black eyes. Soon enough, they arrived at the cabin. As soon as they reached the cabin, Toby insisted he left right away. She managed to get him to rest for a while, wanting to soak in his comfort and to not feel alone. Ash didn't bother to clean her arms up to remove the dry blood and smeared all over her skin. She just wanted to sleep, to escape her roaming thoughts. Sinking deeper in the pile of thick blankets, her eyes flutter halfway shut at the warmth. Toby laid across from her, eyes hazed and deep in thought. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders and pulled her close, gently rubbing her blanket-covered back. Despite the heaviness in her stomach, it fluttered at the feeling of her body pressed against his. She sunk into the warmth of his side, appreciative of the simple gesture. His touch made the room warmer somehow. Her life seemed a little less bleak. There was something so warm, something that felt right and seemed right. She felt him brush her hair back with his fingers and kiss her gently on the forehead. His lips were cold and felt sweet on her skin. Even the smallest things he does make her embarrassed. Sleep. Toby speaks against her ear, his breath warm. You're just going to leave once I fall asleep. She replies shortly, her eyes fighting to stay open. He sighs and runs a hand over his face where stubble was already growing. You know I have to. We have to leave as soon as we can, Sunshine. We should have left days ago, and it's my fault for not doing it then, and I'm sorry. She doesn't respond. The thought of where he went day after day reappears. Since she doesn't feel like arguing about it, she asks, What if it shows up again while you're not here? It won't. It already done its warning. As for any of its proxies, if someone does come, I want you to hide in that compartment, okay? I wish I could take you with me, but if you did come along, there's no telling what could happen. The police are still looking for you, and they're everywhere and even stopped me one time. One of the crazy assholes could. It's fine, I understand. Just come back soon, okay? A small smile, eyes sleepy. She feels him hug her a little tighter, a little closer. Of course I will, Sunshine. Now get some sleep. She falls asleep, and when she awakens, Toby is nowhere to be seen. The spot where he once laid was now cold. He must have been gone for hours now. Being alone like this reminds her of the time she was in the asylum, the way she would pace back and forth, counting the lines in the walls or counting the strands of her hair on her head. Just 2 weeks ago, that's where she was, what she was doing all day long. Now, so much has changed so fast, this only crosses her mind now. The once weird stranger who showed up at her window was now someone she came to be so familiar with, someone she loves. Without him, she would be in a permanent padded room. Without him, she was nothing but a broken girl who ceased to understand how a world looked outside those walls that seemed to always shrink, closing her in. And now she was free. The first month of being in the asylum, she would do nothing but try to kill herself. She tried to hit her head against the wall, but she would never do it hard enough. She tried to starve herself and succeeded for weeks before the mental institution noticed her food was untouched, so they gave her a choice to eat or to be put on fluids through an IV. All other attempts at suicide failed. She started to wash it down the drain, but they still figured it out because at the time they actually cared to see if she was okay. They gave up and stopped checking to see if she was still alive. The following months, she decided she would try for her mother and brother. She wouldn't give up and try to join them. She would try to live, and even if it hurt more than dying. She stuck to that plan for years. The year she met Toby, that hope of ever living outside the walls was fading and was almost gone out of her reach. Toby did save her. He saved her life. And if he never showed up, she wouldn't be here now. That is the end of those two chapters. The chapter after this one is chapter 34. Let me know how you guys feel about this episode, and I will see you guys in the next video. And again, have a good Christmas or any holiday that you celebrate. Bye bye!